In this video, we are going to cover how to calculate the area of composite figures. And remember, composite figures are figures that are made up of smaller shapes like triangles, squares, rectangles, trapezoids. So while we are doing these formulas and calculating this area, there are a few formulas that we may end up using. So I want to recap really quickly here. There are four possible formulas that we will use. First one being the area of squares or rectangles, which is area equals length times width. We could also find the area of parallelograms, which is area equals base times height. Triangles, which is area equals base times height divided by 2. Or our last one for trapezoids, area equals 1/2 times the height times the sum of base 1 and base 2. So let's go ahead and get through our couple examples. So here's our first shape. It's kind of an upside down L shape. We're given some of the dimensions, but what we have to do here is split this L-shaped figure into two smaller shapes that we have the area formulas for. So go ahead and take a second, pause the video, copy down this shape, and then attempt to draw a line that you feel like will split this into two different shapes. So this shape can actually be split a couple different ways. I'm going to go ahead and just choose to draw my line here. So in order to do this, I have two separate shapes. I know this larger shape here is a rectangle. So I'm going to start there. The area of a rectangle is length times width. So for this shape, I've got the length of 13 meters times the width of 6 meters. So when I do my multiplication there, I get the area of 78, and then my label is going to be meters squared. So I found one piece. Now I need to find the area of my smaller piece here. And again, we can't really trust the picture. So we have to find some measurements from the given amount that we have here. So we know that this entire length is 13 meters, which means this entire length has to be 13 meters. But we're given 8 meters right here for this length. So we have to find the missing value of the line that we drew. So basically, the whole thing has to be 13. We're already given 8, so we have to figure out that missing value. So we're taking 13, subtracting 8 from it, and we end up getting 5. So the missing value, the length of the line that I drew on this shape is actually 5 meters, because our 5 plus this 8 is a total of 13. And we know this whole side has to be 13 because the parallel side on this rectangle is also 13. So now we're given enough information to find the area of this smaller rectangle. So again, since it is a rectangle, it's length times width. So same formula, just different numbers now. The length we're going to say is 5 meters. The width will be 7 meters. So this area, we get 35 meters squared. Now we found our two separate areas. But in order to find the area of the composite figure, we have to add these two together. So we have to take our 78 meters squared and add it to our 35 meters squared. And when we do that, we should get 113 meters squared. So we had to divide this into two separate shapes and the area of each shape separately, and then find the sum of those two areas. So let's go ahead on to our second example. So this one looks a little bit different. When we draw our line here, we're going to have a rectangle and a triangle. So go ahead again, pause the video, copy down this shape, draw the line where I've drawn mine, and then go ahead and restart the video when you're ready for the explanation. Or if you feel comfortable trying it on your own and checking your work. So for this one, I'm going to start with the rectangle. We're actually given all the information we need for that rectangle. We've got area equals length times width again. The length of this rectangle is 9, and the width is going to be 6 here. So we get 54. And since we don't have any label, we're going to use units. So 54 units squared. Now what we need to figure out is the area of this triangle. Now the area formula, since we know it's a triangle, I'm actually going to write this first, base times height divided by 2. So we need the base length, the height, and then we're going to be able to find our area. So The base is this line we actually drew. So we drew in the base. Now we know that has to be 9 because it's parallel to this side length of 9. It's also part of that rectangle we drew. So the base is 9. Now we have to figure out how tall this triangle is. Now we're given a really big piece of information, this 10 right here, this 10 units. That's from the base of the shape all the way to the tippy top of that point is 10 units long. But we know that just the side length of the rectangle is 6 units long. So if the whole side, the whole length has to be 10, we've already been given that this side length is 6. The missing length is 4 units. So we're going to multiply 9 by 4, divide by 2. So 9 times 4 gives us 36. Divide that by 2, and we should get the area of 18 units squared. So I got this 4 because the entire height of the shape is 10 units. We've already used 6 units for the height of the rectangle. So whatever is left over, which is 4, has to be the height of that triangle. Now again, in order to find the total area, we actually have to add both of these values up. So we're taking our 54 units from our rectangle and adding it to the triangle's area, which was 18 units. And we should get 72 units squared. And we have our last example, again, more like an L-shaped figure here. Pause the video, try this one on your own first. I'm going to draw my line here. So if you want to try it this way and then check your work with mine, feel free to do that. So since I drew my line here, I am going to start with this top shape. It is a rectangle. I am given the length and the width. So I wanted to start there since I already had all my given information. So length times width, the area of the top rectangle is, the length is 6. The width is going to be 2 here. So our area is 12 feet squared. So this is 12 feet squared. Now I have to find the area of this smaller shape. So I'm given that the width of it is 3 feet. I need to figure out how long this side length is here, this where that wiggly line is. Now I know the entire height from very top to very bottom is 5 feet, but I don't know how much is this side here. So if I'm going back to my rectangle that I just found the area of, I know this right-hand side is 2 feet, so this left-hand side also has to be 2 feet. So if this smaller piece is 2 feet, the entire thing has to equal 5 feet. All we have left is 3 feet. So total, that 2 feet plus our 3 feet gives us our 5 feet. So that's how we found this missing value. Now that we have the length and the width, we can say that that shape is a square. So we're actually using the same formula, length times width. Our length and width are both 3 feet. So we get an area of 9 feet squared. And again, our last step is to add those two areas together, and we get 21 feet squared as our total area of this composite shape. So please feel free to rewatch any part of this video that you need help with, re-listen to the explanations, look over your notes from class, and good luck studying.